Meanwhile, state lawmakers have their eyes on more than the impeachment right now, the end of the regular session. As some bills made it through last night's deadline, only corrections to existing bills can be considered today. Our Lorena Rivas joins us with more on one bill that passed quickly this regular session, focusing on a deep East Texas university. Lorena?
That's right. Earlier this month, Stephen F. Austin State University became the UT System 14th affiliate. Governor Greg Abbott signed the bill allowing SFA to join the University of Texas system into law earlier 3 weeks ago. East Texas Representative Travis Clardy, who had a hand in getting it passed, talked with us about what changes this could bring.
On behalf of the UT system, made really an unparalleled offer of what they wanted to invest in the future of SFA to the tune of about $125 million for the next 4 years.
Representative Clardy says the school will keep its colors, culture, and name, but it will include that it is now a member of the UT system. This will allow the university to have full access to the permanent university funds. According to the Department of Education, the UT system is among the largest endowment in the U.S. for a higher education system. All students, faculty, and tenured faculty will be offered a spot with all contracts transferring to the UT system. Victoria, back to you.
Definitely a bill with a lot of East Texans focusing on it. Lorena, thank you.